who's good, who's actually for working people. I'm going to sit this one out. That's why they're spending so much money on that TV. This is why what you're doing is so vitally important, because you are breaking through that cloud of dark money and engaging with people just like you. And then you could break that cloud of cynicism, because cynicism is a plot from the far right. Solidarity is what has always transformed our politics, always transformed our country, and has always built a strong middle class for working people. And I see solidarity here. I see white folks, I see black folks, I see Latino folks, I see people of all religions, I see people of all backgrounds, of all ages. This is the antidote to MAGA extremism. So when you're on those doors, the best way to cut through that cynicism, and everybody could do this. This election, it was perfectly said, it's not about right versus left or Democrat or Republican even. It's something much greater. It's about authoritarianism or democracy. It's really about good or evil. And it's about the people we care most about. Everybody has somebody that they care most about, that if the election goes in the wrong way, that person will be more at risk. Maybe it's a child that you care about. Maybe it's a young trans person that you care about. Maybe it's somebody who currently isn't organized in a union and you want to make sure that they are, and they are precarious and they're working minimum wage. It could be so many people that you care about that are on the line. And when you hit those doors, when you talk to your friends and your neighbors and your family members, and you tell them why it's so important to vote, why it's so critical that Tuesday we provide a wave that gets Summer over the finish line, make sure you have, absolutely, make sure you have that person in your heart. This election is a lot bigger than any one politician. This election is a lot bigger than any one election. This election is about who we want to be, what we want to be as Americans, whether or not we want to live in an America where we could decide who we love, where we could decide that how we want to educate our children, where we could it's funny because the Republicans on the far right, they say they're the party of liberty. They say they're the party of freedom. Everything I see from them is a policy that seeks to take away our freedom, take away our liberty, tell women what they could do with their bodies, tell educators how they could educate children and what books should be banned or not, tell people who they could love and who they could marry. What do you think about that? So in this election, which is about freedom, true freedom, or liberty, and which is about democracy, authoritarianism, and which is about that person that is in your heart and their ability to live free. We need to make sure that we bring home a working class candidate that understands implicitly through her life all of those things. And I'm talking about Summer Lee. So everybody give it up. Thank you so much. Let's bring it home.
Give it up one more time for Maurice Mitchell. Maurice talked about the solidarity reflected in this room. We're here because we believe in solidarity. We believe that a better world is possible. We believe in a world based on solidarity. And our next speaker does too, and she needs no introduction other than maybe, what time is it? What time is it? What time is it?
What's up, Pittsburgh? How y'all feeling today? All right, it's time to get fired up a little bit. Real quick, I want to do a chant real quick because I see we got family in the house. So real quick, I'm going to say, get up, get down. Pittsburgh is a union town. Get up, get down. Pittsburgh is a union town. Hey. That's what I'm talking about. So, right, before we get in here, I want to thank our sisters and brothers in labor who have shown up strong for us throughout this entire general election. Let's give you all a hand. And I just want to, real quick, I want to know who's in the house today. So we know whose house it is. So AFT is in the house. This is their house, so let's thank them so much for having us. But who else we got in here? We got 32? 32? All right. I hear it's 668 here. Oh, y'all quiet. Y'all gonna let BJ do y'all like that? We got healthcare PA? I hear we have UFCW? Firefighters. Darren Watt. Yeah, there we go. I see Ask Me. Machinists. We weren't going to forget you. Hold up, y'all. Is UE here? We got UE, my first endorsers ever. IATSE. We got carpenters. And I said we got AFT. This is a union town, so I am so proud and I am honored to stand with our sisters and brothers in labor. And it's not just labor here. We have folks from across communities. We have people representing us from all over this whole region. We have folks in a multiracial, multi-generational movement that is here represented today. And in these next 2 days, we are going to go out strong. And we're going to show Western Pennsylvania what we're made of. Because this is our moment and we cannot afford to sit down while people who would march on our Capitol take over our governance. So we aren't going to have it, right? That's what I'm talking about. Listen, you all heard from better people than me what we have on the line today. But I was just in case you don't have that fire in your belly yet, I just want to remind people, because if you're here today, I know that you are all looking around carrying so many different issues and passions and concerns, right? Some people in here, obviously most people in here care to make sure that every single worker gets a union, right? And a living wage. And workers' protections, and paid family and sick leave. Yes, some other folks in here are here because they know and they believe that all women and birthing folks deserve to have their own bodily autonomy, right? Maybe you're in this here building because you believe that our democracy is contingent on us having a strong public education system, and that every child, irrespective of their zip code, deserves to have a high-quality, free public education, right? Maybe you got here by car, but maybe you got here by public transportation, and you believe that we deserve roads that we can drive on and ride on, and we deserve public transportation that connects us no matter where we are, and we deserve bridges that don't fall down. Maybe you're here because you know that we deserve to worship the way that we please or not, and that we should not be persecuted for that. Maybe you're here because you know that we can no longer have a country where your opportunity is determined by your race or your gender or your sexuality, who you love. Whatever brings you here today, I want to tell you that we need to carry that on every single door and every single phone call, because that needs to be central to what we're doing here. If you're here for any of those reasons, know that it's going to be worth every door you knock on today. It's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth standing up for your neighbor when somebody else would try to knock your neighbor down. It's going to be worth standing up for the least of these in a country where they are constantly under attack. It's going to be worth standing up for true criminal justice reform and true public safety where get this, the party of insurrection would have us believe that they have the answers. Where we're worried about whether or not we're going to send our kids to a school and they may not come home because the party of insurrection would rather they have guns than books, right? We're worried about whether or not our neighbors are going to be safe because instead of doing something about public safety, they would rather make sure that we can't do anything about all of the guns that are proliferating our streets. Let's not be fooled about what we have in front of us in these next 2 days. So let me just say, right, because y'all going to go out and knock some doors, and y'all going to go out there, and we're going to go and make believers of the world. But I know that there's going to be barriers when you get there. When you get on your doors, and you may have heard Casey talk about it, I know you all seen the ads. If you're from Pittsburgh, you've seen them. You've heard them. We know that when we have a working class movement, that corporate interests are always going to come in and try to stop us from building that power, right? We know that when workers are getting together and they are building power, that people are going to come in and they're going to try to knock down our movement. So let's not be fooled about what we're seeing, right? So when you're out there knocking on the door and someone asks you, well, what about public safety? I want you to tell them this. Who do you truly believe cares about public safety? The party of guns, guns, and more guns? Or the party of public education? The party of health care? The party of mental health care, the party of social services, the party of wraparound services, the party of public libraries, the parties of youth and child services, the party that knows that if we actually care about public safety, then we need to care about the public. That means that we need to care about the people. That means that we need people who are going to care enough to invest not in corporate interests, not to give Elon Musk another dime, because he doesn't need another dime. We need to make sure that you have another dime. We need to make sure that our workers have another dime, another dollar. We need people who are going to make sure that our pockets are full. That we need to make sure that we're going to talk to people who would not gouge our prices while we're in the midst of a crisis here, but make sure that you can afford your basic needs. That's the party that we are fighting for right now. That's who we're fighting for right now. And we need to make sure that they know that we're not going to fall for their bull no more. Not another day. So don't be fooled by a party that would tell you that we will cut your Medicare and your Social Security. But we care about you. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. Think about who in your life can't stand for themselves right now. And when you go knock, you knock for them every time. When you go in those doors, you bring the person in your life, whether it's you or another, who you care the most about. And you let that conversation drive you. When they ask you, what are you here for today? You tell them, I'm here because I believe every child deserves a quality education. You tell them, I'm here today because those kids deserve clean air and clean water in the wealthiest nation on earth. You tell them that they can have clean air and clean water and a good union-paying job. That we don't reject the idea that we cannot have both. Western Pennsylvania will be the leaders in that. We will be the leaders in sustainable energy and union jobs. We can make the pathway that this nation will follow. So let me tell you, in 2 days, we are going to be the leaders. Western Pennsylvania is going to set the blueprint for how we save democracy. For how we are going to save democracy. And we are going to do it in a way that no one has believed that we can do it. We are going to fight through the politics of division and the politics of fear, the politics that tell you that you are different than each other if you live in a suburb or if you live in an urban community. They're going to tell you that you're different if you're progressive or moderate. They're going to tell you you're different if you're black or if you're white. We're going to cut through all of that, and we're going to reject every wedge that they would put between us. But instead, we are going to lean on this multiracial, multi-generational coalition, because that's the only way that we can move this nation forward into the society that each and every one of us deserves. So when you're out in the next 2 days, don't let anybody tell you that we have more against each other than we have more in common. Because look around this room. Look around this room. We talked about all the interests we have in common. So the question is do you want a democracy or do you want fascism? Do you want the party of guns or do you want the party of books, the party of people? Do you want power for the people or do you want power for the corporations? And I'm going to tell you, there's one person who has been in this fight way longer than me. And I know that's why you're here today. This is why you've been standing here in this hot room, sweating with me. Thank you. And I appreciate and value that. But I am because of the people who came before us and who forged paths for us. So I thank you all for standing here with me, and I thank you all for walking for me. But I want to get on to what we're really here for. And are we ready? Because this is the second time that our good senator has come here to Pittsburgh. Because Bernie Sanders knows how important Western Pennsylvania is going to be to this movement and to this democracy. So if you got a little bit left in you, if you can give a resounding applause and a great Yinzer welcome to Senator Bernie Sanders and show him what Pittsburgh is made of.
You know, we were driving in from the hotel. It's really warm outside, and I said, here it is, early November, and it's a summer day. Well, it is a summer day. We're going to elect Summer League. To be honest, I'm here with you for two reasons. Number one, we desperately need summer in the U.S. Congress. Summer understands, and all of you understand, that at this moment in American history, we are facing unprecedented crises. We are moving toward an oligarchic form of society where multi-billionaires control our economy, they control our political life, they control our media. The rich are becoming much richer. Working families are falling further behind, and millions are living in desperation. If there was ever a time in American history where we needed leadership in the Congress to say, we're going to stand with working families, we're going to create a government and nation that work for all, not just a few, this is that moment. Summer is that candidate. Summer understands that if you work 40 hours a week in America, you don't live in poverty. We raise the minimum wage to a living wage. And it's wonderful to see brothers and sisters in the union movement here, because Summer understands that we're not going to have a middle class in this country unless we grow the trade union movement. And Summer understands that it is an outrage that the United States of America remains the only major nation on earth not to guarantee health care to all people as a human right. Which is why we have to pass Medicare for all. And Summer understands that if this great country is going to survive economically, we need the best educated workforce in the world. And today we're here to especially thank our public school teachers for all that they do. Thank you. We need to strengthen public education. We need to end the absurdity of working families having to pay on average $15,000 a year for child care. Who can afford that? And we need to make public colleges and universities tuition free. Now, my Republican colleagues in the Senate have a brilliant idea. They want to give $1.75 trillion in tax breaks to the top 1/10 of 1% by repealing the estate tax. Well, we have a better idea. That is to demand that the wealthiest people start paying their fair share of taxes so that we can cancel all student debt in America. And Summer understands what the scientists are telling us, that climate change is an existential threat to Pennsylvania, to Vermont, to America, to the entire planet. And that we have to have the courage to take on the fossil fuel industry, transform our energy system, and move to energy efficiency and sustainable energy. So today I am here for all of those reasons, because we need a fighter for working families, black and white and Latino and Native American, Asian American, gay and straight, and Summer is that candidate. But I'm here for another reason, by the way. And I would speak at this moment to people who are not even necessarily sympathetic to Summer's point of view. And that is to say, when we talk about the threat to American democracy, we're all aware of what Trump is doing and his right-wing extremist colleagues are doing. And it is an enormous threat. And I know that President Biden was here and former President Obama was here talking about that this election has a lot to do whether we retain the foundations of American democracy. But Trump and his allies are not the only people undermining American democracy. Brothers and sisters, we have a corrupt political system which is enabling billionaires to buy elections, and that is what Summer is up against right this moment. As we speak, you got a billionaire-funded super PAC putting in over $1 million trying to defeat Summer. And we're seeing this all over this country. When progressives come up and stand with working people, the big money interests try to defeat them. And I know, especially after this campaign, at the very top of Summer's list of to-do things, it's going to be to overturn this damn Citizens United Supreme Court decision. And move to public funding of elections. In a democracy, you know, people can have our differences. That's called democracy. We should be proud of that. But we should not continue a system which allows billionaires to buy elections. That's not democracy, that's oligarchy. We cannot allow that to exist. So here we are 2 days before an election, and you're out to do everything you can for Summer, and I appreciate that so much. We are taking on people who have unlimited, and I mean, I know these people, unlimited amounts of money. $100 million ain't much for these guys when you got, tens of billions of dollars. All right, they got the money, they got the money. We have the power, and we're not going to let people disrupt our meetings. So where we are right now is at this moment standing up to the billionaire class and their supporters and telling the people of Pennsylvania, the people of this country, that we're going to have a government that works for all, not just a few. We're going to send John Fetterman to the Senate. We're going to send Summer Lee to the House. Let's go out. Let's do it. Thank you.